What's up of the morning to you laddies? My name's Z-Rattleman Buck. Welcome to the Happy Friday release of 9 new mods that are either updated from a previous version that a other creator did, which kudos to them. I'll make sure I shout out as many of these guys as I can. Or they are completely new projects that you guys either remember from mine in 19, or they're just, again, new in general. So we have nothing right now, just for the fact I'll kind of not buy as I go, but we'll look at them as they go. As I stated in the F-Series video, that mod was subject to change. So for anybody who does not want to stick around, links are in the description. As you all know, I always say this because it's true. But for those that want to stick around, figure out everything that's in this. What are we all going to do? Is it packs? Is it not? How does it work? That's what we're going to be covering. So this will be a little bit of a longer one. I'll be kind of like divided into almost 4 or 5 sections, I think, between the F-Series, old school pickups, old school cars, and then the UTVs. So I think that's 4. So either way, we'll kind of get right into the cars section here. And as I also stated that Ford, again, when it's subject to change, there's a big change right there. I went and redid all the pricing on how, like, the vehicles and stuff work. So pricing is a bit different now on this. It's more realistic, to say the least. So you have your 350, your 250 base model, everything down to the bare bones XL starts at $35,000. The bed starts at $2,000 with no options. So it's $37,000, which is right on the money. And then if you were to go to a 450, big tires, XL, Power Stroke, and Chrome, then you're looking already at almost $70,000, which I kind of went through. Same thing, just all good and dandy. The things we got releasing today: 1959 Impala, 1969 Charger, 72 Ford, 93 Ram, which has been used in the Homeowner series. This is just my version of it from the conversion that was originally done right about a week and a half in or so by LHC Modding. It was also done by Ben Austin in 19, but it was converted by basically Cooper, that group. 2014 Commander. This is from Shenanigans Modding. He did a really good job on the level of detail that was basically in this thing from the start. I have to reload that. That's why it's not showing. But really, I loved this thing to start with. I just wanted to tweak it, have a really good suspension. The first one just... It rode a little rougher in my opinion, but it was a really solid mod. I absolutely loved it. Color palette was really nice too. So we ended up working on that a little bit. Can-Am Maverick. This is from my Steam game. I just, again, changed the suspension so it was good for like racetracks. When you jump the thing, it wouldn't throw its back end up in the air. That was something you probably couldn't fix on this mod with the nice suspension that it had. So this is also directly linked to the original version of this down below. We also have the Honda 4Tracks, which this is, again, just an early mod that I went and tweaked, fixed like the snorkel stuff, the engine setups, race, stock, 2-wheel drive, and then my color palette of just all that matters. So kind of nice for that. And then the Honda Rancher, which is from Austin, again, Cooper, LHC's modding that group. So that's the main gist of what all is going to be in here, besides the beds, which are in miscellaneous for the truck beds again. But these are not connected anymore because the Ford pack you have to unzip. There's just a whole bunch of stuff that this pack can basically, these mods are going to consist of. So let's start out with the 1959 Impala. Starts at $2,700. These 3 mods are completely based off of MSRP from back in their day. They all have an option down here that says price inflation, which gives it a regular modern day price tag. So if you were to buy it brand new, which is kind of nice, why wouldn't a vehicle cost $21,000? It looks like this. I would buy that for $21,000. But the 59 Impala mainly it has the suspension of the General. It's got a couple different options between seats. You can go the basic model, or you can go with these premium bucket style split seats. Your center console, if you have the premium seats in there, you can opt for a center console, as well as if you were to put a 409 automatic, which there's a stick up there, 409 manual, there's a manual down there. If you take out the premium seats, you do not have anything, but you have to change this from center console back to there, and you'll get a floor shifter. Paint match, color roof, you can't see it right now, but you have a roof match, roof two-tone, back deck two-tone, and then both. And that is this. It changes the inside line here. That is by default, but then these two you can change the color palette on there. It's got its full factory color palette right there up until Snowcrest White, and then it goes into the F-Series color palette. So that's really nice on there. You got 3 different wheels. You got the 17-inch factories. You got 15-inch American Racing torque thrusts, as well as Krager SS radials. Well, radial's the tire, but just the Krager SS's. So those are kind of fun. 409 manual, 409 drag manual, and 409 automatic, of which those transmissions do work accordingly. It is a 4-speed on the floor, and the automatic is a 4-speed, I believe, automatic. That or it is a 2-speed automatic. I think it's a flyby. Not a flyby, but that style of transmission. It's a 2-gear one. Accessories, you can either, if I just put them all on, it's the antennas, the front bumper trim, and I think there's something else. Oh yeah, the 409 badges. So this car did not come with a 409 in there. I swapped one in from a 64 Impala. That's where also that center console came from. So, yeah, you can yell at me that that's not accurate, but, hey, it looks cool on this thing. But when you get everything on there, it does look really, really, really cool. And that's pretty much all there is besides just license plates, which are bang right there and there. All full lighting. I'll buy this one just so we can see this thing as it goes. As for the 69 Charger, this is pretty much the General Lee. But I've revamped it to have, like, vinyl tops. I've just optioned out a bit more things. So the trim is a little chrome piece that goes back here behind the top half, so you can kind of, like, divide the top of the car. You can do no accessories. It's the roll bar as well as the grill guard push bar thing. The antennas, that adds an antenna on the trunk lid as well as the CB inside the car. General things. King laughed at me, but that is what toggles all the General Lee decals. So that's kind of fun. Same thing. This one also has the price inflation, brings it up to $28,000. Engines, you got 383, the 440 Magnum, and then the 440 Drag, which is a 2-speed manual. Both of these are 4-speed automatics, but they're scripted to be a manual. You'll see. Then you got the 500 mags with black lettering on the radials. You can have the new American Racing style. I can't remember the name of that rim. There might be radials, but then you just got the white lettering versions of them. It looks really, really cool. Color palette, general orange, and then the rest of them being Fords. With the Ford's color palette, roof color, you either have the black vinyl, general orange to complete the look, and then interior is you can either have a black interior or a tan interior. They're kind of nice. Same thing, license plates go on there. There's no, like, general license plates, the Georgia plates. It's just the in-game Elm Creek ones, so you can still customize it to say the Georgia plates. 72 Ford. This one's got a handful of stuff as well. We got 5 different wheel brand. I'm not sure why it does this. I've tried fixing that 5 times, and it still does not do it. So whatever this wheel brand thingy says for you, that's just something you can't fix. But either way, that's the Ford stock Steelies. The Highboy rims, courtesy of 82 Studios and his old 2017 truck. We got some new 8-lug inspired, kind of like half-ton rims, to say the 1 ton. Whatever it is, the heavy-duty, the heavy half versions, except that's Chevy. Whatever, you get the point. You got the Steelies from the F-Series, as well as the F-150s, like, premium. I've never seen these on this truck, but it honestly didn't look half bad until I saw a picture of them. And it looked really cool. So you got the Wrangler tires, Cooper Cobras, BF Goodrich radials, and then these new DTS all-terrain mud tires. So that's kind of nice. Plow setups. You got a plow bracket. You can take off the tailgate, salt spreader, and then you can have both of them as a full package. Nebraska plates. Wouldn't be mine if it didn't have the signature on it. Nebraska plates. Got commercial truck, farm truck, and I finally updated the tags so this truck is not expired anymore. Bed options. You got toolbox. You got the bed rails. You got toolbox and the bed rails. And then the topper, which does now actually function. I got that whole thing working, so huzzah. CB options, you don't want to have the topper on, but that just turns on CB whips, as well as a CB inside the dash when you have the full CB and whips. Front options, same as it was back in 19. Got the guard, the bug shield, and this accordingly. Just kind of got to toggle through them. Same thing for the lights and handles, as well as the steps and the flaps, which I think I changed these from beep beep to back off, unless they were the back off to start with. Price inflation, same thing. You could wrap it up. And in the attachers, it's got the F-Series attachers now. So you can do pintle, drop hitch, and 2-inch drop with the fifth wheel or gooseneck and say so accordingly. Color palette, blah, blah, blah. You guys know how it splits like that. Interior color, same thing. You can change all that. There's nothing really different, except for like 4 or 5 new added features. As for the RAM, same thing. It's got, well, now I ended up changing the Power Wagon sticker, so now that changes color with this. You also have, again, the white two-tone backet that came on this truck originally. Cap top. You can either have handles or the visor. Nothing really different on that. And you can add them together. I basically just added a few things from the Ford. So steps, you got little steps, full steps, blah, 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 depending on which tires you got. Because down here, if you were to go to the singles, it changes it to the single thing. So that's convenient now. I ended up fixing that. It's got stock tires on there, being those Pirelli all-terrains. I just changed a few of those things. It's just a stock farm truck now. Got all the, again, the Ford's attachers. There's nothing different there. Your bumpers in the front, you can still get the off-road one, but the only difference now is if you were to put on Nebraska plates and then swap the bumper, that plate moves down. Trim options, that's still all the same. Headlights, when you do LEDs, they change here, but if you have this tailgate enabled, which if you were to take off for the salt spreader, then it wouldn't be there. But if your tailgate's enabled, you can do a basic set of lights, which, again, you kind of got to mess around with the LEDs. But if you do LED 2s and all that stuff, basic and lights, and then you can get the premium, which does not have lights, but then you add the lights by doing that. And this white changes to two-tone. So, bed extras, bed whips, toolbox, bed whips, and toolbox. I didn't put the topper or the bed rails on it because they didn't really fit that well. Front options, same thing. Bug shield and the guard from the Ford. It's just a fun truck. There you go. Period. End of discussion. And I think that doesn't... Yeah, that's a thing, but don't worry about that. Not a thing. Then all of a sudden, now the interior changes colors, too. It's kind of got a little bit of color palette, so you can change up all that stuff, have some fun. Can-Am 2014. Once again, I gotta get the options to load. This thing now has attached joints, so you can have drop hitch or a pin hitch. Engine setup, stock, race, 2-wheel drive, and it still has all of its original wheels. Again, they all just now work with the suspension. And then there's 4-wheel drive, which again still does work, so that 2-wheel drive versus 4-wheel drive. Color palette looks really nice. It's the same thing. It's the Ford, so you can kind of mess around with this, have some fun with that. 2017 F-Series. As I stated, it's really the same as everything you saw in the other video, which you guys can look at that up there in the top right. But I changed the pricing on it. Some different little features on here are the way that front bumper works on the XL Lariat. This now actually does change colors with the chrome on there. So I can't remember who pointed that out to me. I didn't really care to have that thing be blacked out, but it looked really good when I actually did it. So we ended up making that part of the options. The beds do not, they're not customizations anymore. Like I said, it's a separate pack. You have to unzip the thing. Can-Am Maverick, it's pretty much the same deal as the other one. The wheels don't really change besides 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, color palette, race engine, plates. Recon, custom, whatever it is, the 4-tracks, same thing, already just color palette, 2-wheel drive, race engine, suspension. Same goes for the Rancher, color palette, design color is the rims, you can have them white or steel, and then engine setup, Rancher, race, 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive. So that's pretty much the gist of all this stuff. I'll just end up buying a little bit of these so we can kind of drive them around. This is a very long review. The other thing that has changed on the service bed of the F-Series, which you guys will figure out, I'll just buy one of these. This is not a potato-friendly mod, alright? Everything here is for PC, but this is the biggest mod that's going to be very taxing on these computers. This thing will not be very potato-friendly. I make that clear. I have warned you guys. I have told you multiple times it will not be the biggest friend of a lower-end computer. Doesn't mean you can't run it, but you run the risk of having your computer run really laggy if you're trying to run this thing on the highest amount of settings possible. We'll just kind of keep going through here quick, just like buying these things out, just so you can kind of see some of the other features that could have been done up in these trucks. We'll just buy up a charger here quick, and then we'll go to the beds, which is down here in miscellaneous, as well as the fifth wheel, which the only real change now is the service box, and the only major thing is this top options thing. I ended up making the fins and the rack. Those are two separate options. But courtesy of Blake McLean from McLean Modding there, I got a ladder rack on this thing now, as well as a functioning topper. So you can make this thing look kind of like a service bed, to say the least. Kind of cool. But that's really everything that has to do with this pack. I'll just buy one of these beds quick. Like I said, it's it's 2,500, but that's because of factory tailgate. If you were to take it off, then you do that and whatever. So we'll buy that quick. We'll take a look at this. So as I stated, you can look at my FPS. I'm at like 40-ish looking at all this stuff. So the only real thing that's setting it back is this, just because again it's super taxing on your computer. Like you kind of get it out of your sight, it clears up. But 59 Impala, to kind of get in here, you got full working speedometer, full working gauges. Right now, it is a 2-speed transmission for the automatic. As you can see that, 3 pedals are not on the floor, there's only 2. And as you go forward, and then shift it to backwards, oh, wrong thing. If you go backwards, everything just seems to be working fine. Got all your mirrors, you got your lights, as well as a feature to, if you look on here, it says unfold car, which that will put on a hydraulic suspension. It doesn't actually work, but well, it works, but it only lowers the car into like a cruise mode slash show mode, airbag suspension style. And then if you press N, it pops the hood to reveal a full engine bay of a 409, which again, that's pulled directly from a 64 Impala, so not the correct engine, but hey, it's a warm and welcome one to be put into this thing. So that's kind of the whole gist behind that. Like I said, if you do your little turn signal, turn stock, all that stuff works, your fuel gauge works, all of that. And if we go to next thing, Rancher, you guys have seen how these things work. It's just a relatively simple little four-wheeler. It does have functioning hitch on the rear. We also have the 4-track, same thing, functional hitch. Maverick, same thing, tuned up. F-Series, you guys have already seen the full rundown of that. Can-Am, pretty much same thing, except this one I did fix, like the gauge cluster working now. This kind of like throws itself into low. I was trying to get that to work. Didn't really work fully, but that's kind of cool. This RAM in particular now has fixed itself on... I got the pedals to work in it. You throw it in first, that gear shift now works. I also fixed the dash needles. I also gave it the actual common sound, so it's all in all a fun little project. I also did fix the mirrors, so the mirrors do sit towards the back of the truck now. I don't know why I did that. Ford, all the interior parts are working, gauges, steering wheel. You guys have already seen enough of these vehicles to know what these things really are capable of. The Charger, same thing. It does the little door open animation, but you throw the car down in reverse or first. Each gear works on the thing. This is more of an, like the semi-auto, the guy that wants to drive a manual, but he drives an automatic. And the car doesn't have any real different features, again, on here besides the fact that the engine opens. The only thing that's really different now is that the trunk opens. There are collisions to actually set stuff in there, but there's nothing on the back to hold it in, or up top if the thing pops a wheelie. So that's pretty much everything that is in this entire release. I know I kind of didn't really go over everything in the matters of visual like this, where everything's in front of you, but you guys can just play around with the stuff, see what you like, see what you don't. The beds for the F-Series, since they are now separate, they are a completely separate mod. The truck is labeled F-Series, 2017 F-Series. The beds are labeled F-Series Pack 1, meaning that I'm probably going to do just bed add-ons to this truck, if you guys are able to run this thing. So kind of keep up with, I'll keep you guys up with that one. But as for everything else, it probably is going to stay as is from me. I don't plan on really tweaking anything besides maybe the ATVs and UTVs to maybe handle a little bit better. But after all is said and done, that will probably be it for this one, guys. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe down below. Also, be sure to check out that Boomstick Club for all the up-to-date content from me and the gang. You already know who is in it. And I shall see you all in the next one. This is the Rental Man out.